First contact in crisis. The emergency alert pierced through the tranquil morning on New Eden, humanity's first interstellar colony. Ambassador Elena Chen stood at the observation deck of the Colonial Administration building, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling anomalies appearing in the planet's atmosphere. The colony's early warning system had detected multiple quantum signatures that didn't match any known human vessels. "Ambassador, we're receiving a transmission from an unknown source," her AI assistant, HFY, announced. "The signal pattern matches nothing in our database." Elena straightened her uniform, years of diplomatic training kicking in despite the unprecedented situation. "Put it through, HFY. Let's meet our visitors." The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a creature that defied human imagination. Its crystalline body pulsed with internal light, and multiple appendages moved with unsettling grace. When it spoke, its words were translated by HFY's advanced linguistics protocols. "We are the Crystalline Collective. Your presence in this sector has been noted. Prepare for immediate evacuation. This world has been claimed." Elena's heart raced, but her voice remained steady. "This is Ambassador Elena Chen of the United Earth Federation. New Eden is a legally established colony with over 50,000 civilian inhabitants. We cannot." The transmission cut off abruptly as the first energy beam struck the colony's shields. The impact sent tremors through the building's foundation. "Shields at 67% and falling," Araya reported. "The collective's weapons utilize an unknown form of quantum destabilization technology. Our defenses weren't designed for this." Elena activated the emergency broadcast channel. "This is not a drill. All civilians proceed to emergency shelters. Military personnel to battle stations. Contact Earth Command immediately." As chaos erupted around her, Elena received another transmission, this time from the Galactic Council, the loose federation of spacefaring species that humanity had been trying to join for the past decade. High Counselor Zixtal, a being of pure energy contained within an ornic mechanical shell, appeared on screen. "Ambassador Chen, we have detected the Crystalline Collective's presence in your sector. We advise immediate surrender. The collective cannot be reasoned with, and your technology is insufficient." Elena's jaw tightened. "With all due respect, Counselor, we don't surrender our people. Not ever. If the Council won't help, we'll handle this ourselves." "Ambassador, you don't understand. The collective has conquered species centuries more advanced than humanity. Your weapons will be useless. Your tactics meaningless. We cannot risk." Elena cut the transmission. "Get me Fleet Admiral Sarah Hassan." The Admiral's weathered face appeared instantly. "Elena, we've seen the data. The 7th Fleet is already en route, but we're looking at 6 hours minimum. The colony shields won't last 6 minutes at this rate," Elena replied, watching as another blast rattled the building. "Then it's time to show these crystals what happens when you back humans into a corner." The Admiral's eyes gleamed with determination. "Remember the Titan project?" Elena's eyes widened. "The experimental quantum phase ships. But they're untested. They're ready enough." Captain Maya Rodriguez and her crew volunteered. "They're jumping in 3 minutes." As if on cue, space itself seemed to tear open above New Eden. A ship unlike anything ever seen before emerged. The UES Prometheus. Its hull rippled like liquid metal, quantum fields bending reality around it. The Crystalline Collective ships immediately turned their attention to this new threat, but their weapons passed harmlessly through the Prometheus as it phased between quantum states. Captain Rodriguez's voice crackled through the command channel. "Looks like the eggheads were right about quantum phasing. Now let's see how these crystals handle a taste of their own medicine." The Prometheus's main weapon powered up. A concentrated beam of quantum energy that matched the exact frequency of the collective's crystalline structure. The result was devastating. The first enemy ship shattered into 1,000,000 glittering shards, its quantum matrix completely destabilized. "Impossible." The collective's transmission returned. Your species lacks the knowledge for quantum manipulation at this level. Here's another human trait you should learn about. Elena responded, watching as the Prometheus continued its assault. We don't like being told what's impossible. The battle lasted less than 20 minutes. When it was over, the remaining collective ships retreated through their quantum portals, leaving behind only scattered crystal fragments as evidence of their presence. High Counselor Zixtal contacted Elena again, his energy form flickering with what might have been embarrassment. Ambassador, it seems we may have underestimated humanity's capabilities. The Council would be interested in discussing your quantum phase technology. Elena allowed herself a small smile. Of course, Counselor. But first, we should discuss the terms of humanity's membership in the Galactic Council. After all, it seems you could use our help protecting the galaxy's younger civilizations from threats like the Collective. As she ended the transmission, Elena looked out at the Prometheus hovering protectively above New Eden. Humanity had just announced its presence to the galaxy in spectacular fashion. The message was clear: underestimate us at your own risk. The real question now was, what other threats lurked in the vast darkness of space, and would humanity's ingenuity be enough to face them all? The technology gap. 3 months after the Battle of New Eden, the situation had grown more complex. The crystalline collective's defeat had drawn unwanted attention to humanity's quantum phase technology, and not all of it was friendly. In the depths of the Prometheus's engineering bay, Dr. James Wong stared at the holographic display of their quantum drive's deteriorating matrix. The phase synchronization is destabilizing, he reported to Captain Rodriguez, who stood nearby with her arms crossed. Each jump puts more strain on the system than we predicted. 3 more jumps, maybe 4, and the whole thing could collapse. Maya Rodriguez ran a hand through her close-cropped hair, her cybernetic eye glowing faintly as it processed the technical readouts. And we got 6 more colonies reporting strange energy signatures in their sectors. We can't be everywhere at once, especially not with just one working prototype. Captain, the ship's AI interrupted. Ambassador Chen is requesting an emergency conference. The holographic display shifted, revealing Elena Chen's familiar face, now marked with new worry lines. Maya, we've got a situation. The Collective has found allies. The Varskath have joined them. James felt the blood drain from his face. The Varskath were notorious scavengers, notorious for stealing and reverse engineering advanced technology. If they got their hands on the quantum phase drive. There's more, Elena continued. Our long-range sensors picked up a massive fleet heading toward the Perseus colony. Mixed signatures, both crystalline and Varskath vessels. They'll arrive in less than 48 hours. Maya's cybernetic eye flickered as she ran combat simulations. Perseus has minimal defenses, and we can't guarantee the Prometheus will hold together for a fight of that scale. Then maybe it's time we try something different. A new voice interjected. Dr. Arya Patel, the ship's quantum theorist, stepped into view. Her dark skin was smudged with engine grease, and she carried a tablet filled with complex equations. The Varskath's presence might actually be our opportunity. James turned to his colleague with surprise. Arya, what are you thinking? The Varskath's technology is based entirely on stolen innovations. They don't understand the underlying principles. They just copy and adapt. What if we gave them something to copy that would work against them? Elena leaned forward, intrigued. Go on. We modify our quantum drive to emit a specific frequency, one that looks incredibly powerful but is actually unstable. When they inevitably try to steal and replicate it, their copies would self-destruct. James finished, catching on. But we'd need to modify our own drive to do this. And it's already unstable. Not if we rebuild it from scratch, Arya replied. I've been working on a new theoretical framework. Instead of trying to phase between quantum states, we create quantum tunnels. More stable, more efficient, and most importantly, impossible to copy without understanding the underlying mathematics. Maya's cybernetic eye whirred as she processed the implications. How long? 36 hours if we push it, Area answered. But we'll need help. Specifically, we'll need the Nexians. The Nexians. A heavy silence fell over the conference. The Nexians were a reclusive species of energy beings who had rejected membership in the Galactic Council. They were known for their mastery of quantum mechanics, but they considered most organic species too primitive to interact with. Elena spoke first. The Nexians haven't responded to any diplomatic overtures in over a century. What makes you think they'll help us? Because, Area smiled. I've been communicating with them for the past month. They've been watching our quantum experiments with great interest. They say our approach is, entertainingly, unorthodox. James couldn't help but laugh. That might be the nicest thing they've ever said about an organic species. Maya made her decision. Elena, can you buy us 36 hours? The ambassador nodded. I'll coordinate with Perseus Colony. We'll evacuate who we can and fortify what remains. But this plan of yours better work. One more thing, Area added. We'll need to leak the specifications of our current drive. Make sure the Varskath get their hands on them. You want us to give away our biggest advantage? Elena asked incredulously. No, Area's eyes gleamed. We're giving away a trap. Something so tempting they won't be able to resist. After all, isn't that the most human solution? Using our enemies' greed and arrogance against them. The next 36 hours were a blur of activity. The Prometheus's engineering bay transformed into a hybrid workshop where human ingenuity met Nexian quantum mastery. The energy beings, once contacted, proved surprisingly eager to participate in what they called an amusing experiment in applied chaos theory. As the deadline approached, James watched the final calibrations on the new quantum tunnel drive. Its heart pulsed with a deep blue light, waves of probability cascading through its crystalline matrix. Beside him, a Nexian observer's energy form flickered with what might have been appreciation. Your species continues to surprise us, the Nexian communicated directly into their minds. You lack our understanding of quantum mechanics, yet you grasp patterns we would never consider. Perhaps this is why the Crystalline Collective fears you so much. Maya, who had barely slept in the past day and a half, looked up from her station. They fear us? Of course. You are chaos embodied, unpredictable, adaptable. And now, thanks to this collaboration, you have become even more dangerous. The galaxy will never be the same. As if to emphasize the point, the new drive hummed to life, tearing a hole not just through space, but through possibility itself. The Prometheus was ready for battle once again. And this time, they had more than just human ingenuity on their side. They had the power to turn their enemies' greatest strengths into fatal weaknesses. The question was, would it be enough to save Perseus Colony from the coming storm? Operation Starfall. The space above Perseus Colony blazed with energy signatures as the combined crystalline Varskath fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. 87 ships strong. Their formation cast long shadows over the colony's pristine oceans and gleaming cities. In the colony's command center, Admiral Hassan watched the tactical display with trained calm. Enemy fleet composition analyzing. The defense AI reported 43 crystalline vessels, 32 Varskath cruisers, and 12 ships of unknown configuration. They appear to be modified versions of our quantum phase technology. Admiral Hassan allowed herself a small smile. Right on schedule. Send the signal to the Prometheus. Light years away, Captain Maya Rodriguez received the confirmation she'd been waiting for. The Prometheus hung in space alongside 5 Nexian vessels, their energy forms swirling with barely contained power. They took the bait, she announced to her crew. Initiating quantum tunnel drive in 3, 2, 1. Reality twisted as the Prometheus and its Nexian escorts vanished into a tunnel of pure probability. Unlike the violent jarring of quantum phase travel, the new drive created a smooth passage through spacetime. They emerged directly behind the enemy fleet, perfectly positioned. Multiple Varscath vessels are powering up copied quantum phase drives, Dr. Wong reported from his station. They're attempting to match our previous capabilities. Aria's voice came through clear and confident. Let them try. The effect was immediate and devastating. As the Varscath ships attempted to phase between quantum states, their stolen technology backfired spectacularly. The unstable frequencies cascaded through their power systems, creating a chain reaction of quantum disruptions. Ships began to break apart, their hulls twisting as space itself rejected their presence. The crystalline collective vessels reacted quickly, turning to face this new threat. But they had never encountered anything like the combined might of human ingenuity and Nexian quantum mastery. The Prometheus's new quantum tunnel drive didn't just allow for movement through space. It allowed for the manipulation of probability itself. Target their command ship, Maya ordered. Show them what happens when you underestimate humanity. The Prometheus's main weapon powered up, drawing energy not just from its own systems, but from the quantum tunnels themselves. When it fired, the beam didn't just strike the crystalline command ship, it rewrote the probabilities of its existence. The massive vessel didn't explode, it simply ceased to be, as if it had never been there at all. Fascinating application of quantum uncertainty principles, one of the Nexian vessels communicated. Your species continues to impress with its creative approach to physics. But the battle was far from over. The remaining crystalline ships adopted a new formation, their crystalline structures resonating in harmony to create a massive energy shield. It was an impressive display of their technological superiority, or it would have been, if humanity hadn't planned for this too. Deploy the resonance disruptors, Maya commanded. From the Prometheus's launch bays, hundreds of small drones emerged. They had been Dr. Wong's contribution to the plan. Simple devices that emitted frequencies designed to interfere with the crystalline ship's natural harmonics. As they swarmed through the enemy fleet, the mighty crystalline vessels began to vibrate discordantly. Their shield frequency is destabilizing, Aria reported with satisfaction. The Varscath ships are in full retreat, and the collective's formation is breaking down. The Nexian vessels moved into position, their energy forms pulsing with power. Shall we demonstrate the true mastery of quantum mechanics? They communicated, almost playfully. What followed was a display of power that would be talked about for generations. The Nexians created a web of quantum tunnels around the remaining crystalline ships, each intersection point becoming a nexus of probability manipulation. Ships found themselves existing in multiple states simultaneously, their crystalline structures unable to maintain coherence under the quantum strain. Message from the enemy flagship, the communications officer announced. They're surrendering. Maya stood from her captain's chair, her cybernetic eye glowing with the reflection of the quantum chaos outside. Open a channel to all remaining crystalline vessels. When the connection was established, she spoke with clear authority. This is Captain Maya Rodriguez of the UES Prometheus. Your attempt to conquer human space has failed. Your Varscath allies have abandoned you. Your stolen technology has betrayed you. You have two choices: surrender unconditionally, or face quantum dissolution. The response came quickly. The crystalline collective, for the first time in its known history, surrendered to a supposedly inferior species. As the Prometheus's crew celebrated their victory, Ambassador Chen's hologram appeared on the bridge. Congratulations, Captain. The Galactic Council is in an uproar. The Varscath have gone into isolation. The collective is suing for peace, and 17 previously neutral species have requested diplomatic relations with humanity. And the Nexians? Maya asked, glancing at their allies. We find ourselves unexpectedly entertained by your species, the Nexian ships communicated. Perhaps it is time we reconsidered our policy of isolation. There is much we could learn from each other. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Maya looked out at the stars beyond her viewport. Humanity had proven itself not just through superior firepower or advanced technology, but through its ability to turn weaknesses into strengths, to forge unlikely alliances, and to think in ways that other species considered impossible. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had been hoping for. The price of victory. The celebration of victory lasted exactly 3 days before the true implications began to sink in. In the newly established Quantum Research Center on Mars, Dr. Arya Patel stood before a holographic display showing the aftermath of their quantum tunnel weapon. The void where the crystalline command ship had been still persisted, a perfect sphere of nothingness that defied the laws of physics. "We didn't just destroy their ship," she explained to the assembled group of human and alien scientists. "We erased it from probability itself. The question is, what are the long-term consequences of such an action?" Ambassador Elena Chen, watching from her seat beside a Nexian observer, felt the weight of that question. The room was filled with representatives from 20 different species, all drawn by humanity's demonstration of power. Some came seeking alliance, others out of fear, but all wanted to understand. "The quantum ripples are still expanding," a Nexian communicated, its energy form flickering with what might have been concern. "Your species has introduced a new factor into the universal equation, the ability to not just destroy, but to unmake." Captain Rodriguez, recently promoted to fleet commander, spoke up from her position near the door. "We did what we had to do to protect our people. The collective gave us no choice." "There are always choices," a new voice interrupted. A crystalline representative, one of the few who had chosen to stay and negotiate peace, shifted its faceted form to catch the light. "We believed we had none when we began our expansion. We told ourselves it was the only way to survive. Now look where that path led us." The room fell silent as the implications of those words sank in. Humanity had won its victory through innovation and determination, but in doing so, had they started down a similar path? Dr. James Wong pulled up another holographic display, this one showing the failed Varscath ships. "The trap we laid worked almost too well. When their stolen technology backfired, it didn't just destroy their ships. Early reports suggest the quantum cascade affected their entire research division. They've lost centuries of accumulated knowledge." "Good," someone muttered from the back of the room. "They won't be stealing anyone else's technology." Elena stood up, her diplomatic training warring with her conscience. "Is it good? We didn't just defeat them. We crippled their civilization's ability to advance. We've effectively condemned them to technological regression." The Nexian observer pulsed with agreement. "Actions at the quantum level have universal implications. Your species has demonstrated remarkable creativity in warfare, but now you must show equal creativity in peace." Maya stepped forward, her cybernetic eye scanning the assembled group. "Then let's be creative. The Varscath aren't the only ones who lost their research capabilities. The collective's surrender terms included the decommissioning of their most advanced weapons. Several other species are now afraid to pursue quantum research at all." "You're suggesting we help them?" James asked, surprised. "After everything they did?" "I'm suggesting we do what humans do best. We adapt, we innovate, and we find a way forward that benefits everyone." Maya turned to the crystalline representative. "Your people understand quantum mechanics at a fundamental level. The Varscath are masters of adaptation. The Nexians see patterns we can't even comprehend. And humans, we think in ways none of you would ever consider." Arya caught on to her meaning. "A joint research initiative, not to develop weapons, but to explore the possibilities of quantum science for peaceful purposes." "The Galactic Council would never approve," Elena started, but the Nexian interrupted. "The Council's approval is irrelevant. They failed to prevent the conflict, failed to protect their members, and failed to understand the true implications of quantum manipulation. Perhaps it is time for a new approach." The crystalline representative's facets sparkled with interest. A coalition of species working together to understand and responsibly develop quantum technology. It would be unprecedented. "Exactly," Maya smiled. "Unprecedented is what humanity does best." Over the next few hours, the discussion evolved from theoretical to practical. Plans were made, protocols established, and a new framework for interspecies cooperation began to take shape. The Quantum Research Coalition, as it would come to be known, would change the face of galactic society. But late that night, after the others had left, Alina found Maya standing alone in the observation dome, staring at the Martian sunset. Having second thoughts, Alina asked, joining her friend. "Not about what we did," Maya replied. "That was necessary, but about what comes next. We've changed the rules of the game, Alina. We showed the galaxy that a supposedly primitive species could unmake reality itself. That knowledge can't be erased." "No, it can't. But maybe that's not a bad thing." The galaxy needed to change. The old power structures, the prejudices, the isolation. It was all leading to exactly the kind of conflict we just ended. Maya's cybernetic eye dimmed slightly. And what if we're wrong? What if bringing all these species together, sharing this kind of knowledge, leads to something worse? Alina placed a hand on her friend's shoulder. "Then we'll face it together, not just as humans, but as part of something bigger. Isn't that worth the risk?" As they watched the sun sink below the Martian horizon, casting long shadows across the research center's quantum labs, both women knew they were witnessing the end of one era and the beginning of another. Humanity had proved itself on the battlefield. Now it would have to prove itself in the harder task of maintaining peace. A new dawn. 1 year after the formation of the Quantum Research Coalition, the skyline of New Geneva on Earth played host to an unprecedented gathering. The newly constructed Galactic Cooperation Center, its quantum-engineered architecture seamlessly blending human and alien design principles, rose like a beacon of hope against the evening sky. Inside the Grand Assembly Hall, Ambassador Alina Chen stood before representatives of over 50 species. Some, like the crystalline beings, she had once considered enemies. Others, like the Nexians, had become unexpected allies. And there were new faces too, species that had emerged from isolation, drawn by humanity's example. 1 year ago, Alina began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. We stood at a crossroads. Humanity had demonstrated its power to unmake reality itself. We could have used that power to dominate, to rule through fear as others had tried before us. Instead, we chose a different path. The holographic displays around the hall activated, showing scenes from the past year. Varskath engineers working alongside human scientists, their stolen technology replaced with freely shared knowledge. Crystalline beings teaching young human students the fundamental harmonics of quantum mechanics. Nexian energy forms collaborating with Earth's best minds to explore the boundaries of possibility. The Quantum Research Coalition was just the beginning. Alina continued. Today, we established something greater. The Galactic Defense and Development Alliance. Not an empire built on fear, but a partnership founded on mutual respect and shared progress. From her seat in the front row, Fleet Commander Maya Rodriguez watched with pride. Her cybernetic eye had been upgraded with Nexian quantum sensors, a symbol of the new era of cooperation. Beside her, Dr. Arya Patel and Dr. James Wong sat with their latest prodigy, a young Varskath scientist who had proven that his people's talent for adaptation could be turned toward innovation rather than theft. But this alliance faces challenges that no single species could overcome alone, Alina acknowledged. The quantum anomalies created during the war continue to expand. Unknown regions of space have begun exhibiting strange properties, and there are still those who would prefer a return to the old ways of isolation and conflict. The assembly stirred uneasily at these words. Everyone present knew the risks. The universe itself seemed to be responding to their manipulation of quantum forces, creating new mysteries and potential threats. Yet these challenges present opportunities. Alina's voice grew stronger. Already, our combined research teams have made breakthroughs that would have been impossible for any one species working alone. The quantum tunnel network now connecting our worlds was built by human innovation, powered by crystalline harmonics and stabilized by Nexian mathematics. She gestured to a group of young officers, human and alien alike, standing at attention along the wall. Today, we commission the first class of the Joint Species Defense Force. These officers will crew ships built with the best technology all our peoples have to offer. They will serve not just as defenders, but as explorers and peacekeepers. Maya stood, joining Elena at the podium. The UES Prometheus was just the beginning, she announced. The new flagship of our combined fleet, the Alliance vessel Horizon, represents everything we can achieve together. Its quantum engines can navigate the anomalies we created. Its sensors can perceive levels of reality we're only beginning to understand. And its crew represents the best of all our species. The holographic displays shifted to show the Horizon in orbit, a magnificent vessel that seemed to exist in multiple quantum states at once, its hull incorporating elements of human, crystalline, and Nexian design. But unlike the weapons they had built during the war, this ship was created to explore and protect. We face an uncertain future, Elena concluded. The changes we set in motion cannot be undone. But standing here today, looking at what we've accomplished in just 1 year, I am filled with hope. Humanity's greatest strength was never our technology or our determination, though we have those in abundance. Our greatest strength was our ability to imagine a better way and to inspire others to imagine it with us. As applause filled the chamber, Maya's quantum-enhanced senses detected a subtle shift in reality, a ripple in the quantum fabric that seemed almost like approval. The Nexians had theorized that the universe itself was conscious in ways they were only beginning to understand. Perhaps, she mused, they had finally found the right path. Later that evening, on the observation deck of the Galactic Cooperation Center, the core group that had started it all gathered for a quiet moment of reflection. Elena, Maya, Aria, and James were joined by their closest alien colleagues, beings who had once been enemies, but were now among their most trusted friends. "Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this?" James asked, watching ships of various species moving through the quantum tunnel apertures above Earth. "When we first developed the phase drive, I mean. Honestly, I was just hoping we'd survive," Maya admitted. "But this is better than survival. We're actually building something that could last for generations." A Nexian observer, one who had been present since their first collaboration, pulsed thoughtfully. "Your species continues to surprise us. You faced extinction and emerged not as conquerors, but as teachers and partners. Perhaps this is why the universe guided us to this moment. Or perhaps," Elena smiled, "we all just needed someone to show us that a better way was possible. Humans aren't special because we're stronger or smarter. We're special because we refuse to accept that things have to stay the way they are." As if to emphasize her words, a new quantum anomaly blossomed in the sky above. Not a dangerous tear in reality like those from the war, but a beautiful aurora of possibility, a reminder that the universe still held countless mysteries waiting to be explored. The Horizon would launch the next day, carrying the hopes and dreams of a dozen species into the unknown. But its mission was no longer about proving humanity's worth or defending against threats. It was about showing the galaxy that the most powerful force wasn't quantum science or advanced technology. It was the ability to work together, to learn from each other, and to face the future not in fear, but in wonder. The age of isolation was over. The dawn of cooperation had begun, and humanity, for all its flaws and strengths, had helped light the way.